Boys, what is something you didn't know about girls until you got with one? That there is a lotion for like every body part. Never understood this. Guys have a 4-in-1 bottle of shampoo because we like bragging we saved money on those other 3 bottles. Our cologne is 40 because we were working on something and it smells good. But then women have an entire shelf system for how many lotions and sprays and perfumes they have. Just cook some bacon. You'll smell like bacon. Bacon smells good. Plus you'll have crispy bacon. And if you need to moisturize, just grab a bottle of lotion and that's it. But if you're going to have a bottle for each body part, I never understood why there isn't one for your elbows called elbow grease. Put that on. No clue how they aren't bald with all the hair they lose everywhere. I've had my hair shoulder length or above since middle school. It's been 8 or 9 years and I just started trying to grow it out at the beginning of this winter. My boyfriend has hair that's just past his shoulder blades, and he gets hairing everywhere. I forgot how much someone sheds when they have long hair until I used his shower for the first time. Even though we both do our share of the cleaning, I still find hair on every bathroom surface when it's my turn to clean. I refuse to clean the shower drain because I hate touching wet hair. But by the end of the year, I think I'll have to start doing it because my hair should be about the same length, if not longer. Not me, but I saw a post once where a guy was super confused about the rocks in his girlfriend's shower, and had come to ask what they are and where he could find them to put in his shower so she would feel comfortable put a stick and leaf in a jar for a frog vibe. He thought you'd just find them outside. She had pumice stones. Pumice stones are the bubbly-looking rocks that you can use to exfoliate the bottoms of your feet with. They are made when lava hardens super quick. Also, they are so filled with holes that they can float in water. Their pockets are fake. You don't want to know how many phones have ended up in the toilet because the back pocket is the only one big enough for my phone to fit in. I have started wearing men's jeans because they actually have functional pockets. When women's clothing does have pockets, they're sewn shut. And even after you rip them open, they're barely big enough to fit my debit card and a tube of chapstick. What the plane? Women's clothes make me incredibly angry. There are no pockets. Bras apparently never fit just right, but are also unreasonably expensive despite that. The sizing numbers are completely arbitrary and have nothing to do with the actual clothes. That is, a size 8 can be wildly different sizes between styles even within the same brand, and that number has nothing to do with the actual size, shape, fit, etc. of the item. A single style may have several different fits. A pair of bootcut jeans from the same brand will have a version with wide hips and a narrow waist, or a wide waist and narrow hips, or the hips and waist are the same but then the is wildly misproportioned, etc. The fabrics are always incredibly thin and never last as long, so they're always forced to buy new ones. Coats are a joke because you can either be warm or pretty, but not both. I can tell my wife something like, "Hey, while you're at the store, grab me a new pair of jeans," and there's a really good chance she can get something that fits me without needing me to try them on. There's no way in hell you can do the reverse. I enjoy shopping with the wife, but clothes shopping with her just makes me really mad for her because it's so much more difficult than it needs to be. I'm a woman, and I recently bought a pair of men's pants. The amount of pocket in them seemed a bit extreme. They go halfway down my thigh. I know phones are bigger now, but damn, there has to be a reasonable midpoint between women's pockets and men's. I'm also so happy they've started making slim versions of men's pants. You guys have such a better selection of colors as well as rises. Can't a woman just get a mid-rise straight leg? Finding women's pants, jeans that suit my styling has taken a lot of research. You had to get with one to learn this. If you pay close attention, and you should because you will witness the most adorable thing an adult can do. They will proudly penguin proclaim they actually have pockets when the discovery is made. I kinda deduced that, since I've never jammed my hands in newly found pockets, pulled them outward, and did a little jig while proclaiming the existence of something I've never had missing, that I put 2 and 2 together. I'm a woman. I had no idea this was a thing. I'm very much flashing back to the one time I bought some store self-applied nails, tried them, then tried to get them off. I was sobbing. It hurt so much, I couldn't figure out what to do. I soaked them in a concerning amount of nail polish for hours, and they eventually came off mostly. Holy crap, you pay people to take them off. Really solidifies that isn't my thing, but having an answer is nice. Nail people, I have a hack. Wear a mask for this, Bumfuse. Fill a medium bowl or tub with the hottest water you can stand. Get a freeze-a-gallon Ziploc and pour in about 1/4 cup 100% acetone and a couple of cotton balls to fidget with. Put your hands in the bag and submerge your bagged hands about 1/3 to halfway into the warm water. The warm acetone melts your dip gel acrylic way faster. I usually watch about 15 minutes of a television show while standing over my kitchen sink with a mask on, casually rubbing the cotton balls on my nails while soaking. No floss, no teeth, no filing, no grinding, no pain, unless I have a paper cut. Nothing but light cotton ball rubbing, and stinky hot chemicals gets it all off. So I ended up removing my own with acetone, and it took bloody forever. I loved the nails while they looked good, which was only for like 2 weeks before my nails grew out to where I didn't like it. I came to the conclusion I'll only ever do it on a really special occasion, like perhaps a trip or a special event. It's a lot of pain in dollar to go back and forth to the salon to get them and then either fill them or remove them. My nails grow fast too, apparently. The one great benefit of them, which I never knew, was that they prevent me from picking. Like anything. Because the nail is thick, you can't use it to pick cuticles or anything else. So if you have a problem with that, consider acrylics. Even men can get short ones with a matte finish if they want the same benefit. In college, I had been with a couple girls that liked when I literally ripped their leggings off of them with my hands, like totally destroyed them, and even panties a couple times, as part of a power kink thing. It was pretty hot in the moment, basically having their clothes ripped off them. I had up and extrapolated that to a bra one time. This girl was kinky, and I figured, hey, I've gotten a great reaction doing this with stockings and panties. Bras are the same, right? So I ripped it off, and immediately she was like, that was $90, what the? Mood totally it. Nothing kinky about ruining a bra she really liked, and being utterly clueless that a bra was different from cheap stockings that in retrospect she had obviously purchased for the purpose of being ripped off. I was just like, I'll buy you a new one. Felt like such an idiot. They are mostly pointless. 2. Bras were invented by a man as a replacement for the corset and to make breasts appear rounded. A simply cloth wrapping does the same and is what women used for most of history if they needed it or want to be more modest about hiding their nipples. Wrapping a long cloth under the breasts around the lower ribs and then around the breasts is a cheaper and more comfortable solution that doesn't force the weight of the breasts onto the shoulders. Source: studied boobs since I was 13. Their hands are awfully cold. They'll the heat right out of you when you're cuddling. And they shower with water at the temperature of molten steel. And the amount of hair everywhere is ridiculous. Science lesson time. We have crap circulation because of babies. Basically, our bodies focus on keeping our torso warm to protect potential offspring, and our limbs suffer for it. I can't explain the shower thing. My daughter and I both thrive in boiling water while my son and husband don't know what the hot tap does. As for the hair, you also shed that much, but because your hair is shorter, it's less noticeable and easier to pass through vacuums and drains. When I was a baby, I was put in baths my mother thought were just right based on her interpretation of temperature and how she likes to bathe. I came out red AF, basically scolded. This was normal bath temperature. Anything less was apparently bad for my health. Then I realized that's pretty common female behavior. They all love hot temperatures. Heating was always on like 30 C. I'd come down from playing Football Manager and turn it down to 16 C, as low as it would go, feel relief for a brief moment, and then I'd come down and find it had been tampered with again. It's the opposite with me and my boyfriend. I'm always roasting and he's always freezing. We sleep with an electric blanket in the winter because it's cheaper than heating the whole room, and he likes it on the highest setting, but I can only stand that for a short time before I need him to turn it down. I do love a boiling hot shower though. that endometriosis is a lot worse than whatever they describe in textbooks. I have PCOS, PMDD, and endometriosis, and a lot of other women do too. Here are my experiences with them. Please read. Lots of women have these same experiences, and reading about it will possibly help you understand the women in your life. PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, is very common in plus-size women, though women of any size can have it. The cause is unknown, and there's no cure. PCOS is a disease wherein cysts begin to grow on ovaries, which cause hormonal issues. It can cause periods to stop, weight gain, and an increased difficulty in losing weight, excessive body hair including the face, hair thinning and loss, clitoral growth, dark patches of skin in armpits and the back of the neck, and infertility. PCOS is for life. You can take hormonal birth control to limit the effects, but the body hair and the hair loss doesn't stop. PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, is the worst thing I have ever experienced in my life. It's worse than the pain from endometriosis or the side effects of PCOS. PMDD causes intense suicidal thoughts, which occur in the days leading up to your period. There is no cure, there is no known cause. Many women experience this, and many will go undiagnosed. PMDD is and has often been categorized as hysteria, which is a very misogynistic idea and term. PMDD blinds you from reality, and your brain turns against you. It makes you think that everyone you know is against you, and that you're unlovable and useless. No matter how many times it happens, it will always blindside you. I can't count how many times I've seriously considered suicide because of PMDD. After your period starts, the thoughts automatically go away. Even though it happens monthly, you get so caught up in those thoughts that you can't even realize what's happening to you. And even if you do realize, there's no way to stop those thoughts. Being on birth control regularly and skipping the placebo week so you don't get your period is the only known solution. Endometriosis is a close second to the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. The pain is unmatched. I've heard other women say the pain from cramps is comparable to contractions. Oftentimes the back pain and the cramps are so debilitating that I can't get out of bed. And if I do, the only place I go is to the bathroom. One thing I don't hear very many women talk about is the fact that endometriosis also causes very large blood clots. Those cramps we feel is our uterine lining being torn apart inside of us, and women with endometriosis have to push giant blood clots out like giving birth. It's so uncomfortable, and if you're in a situation where there's bathroom around, you have a giant blood clot right at the edge of your vaginal opening that's just sitting there. Or worse, it comes out, and now you've got a gigantic blood clot on your pad and blood all over the place. Don't suggest a tampon. The pain is so excruciating that if I even think of sticking anything inside my vagina, I will pass out. I've gone days without eating because of how bad it can get. If I eat anything, I throw it all up. There have been days where I've only had water, and my body rejects it and makes me throw it up, which, if you're on your period and your body is convulsing in that way, just try to imagine that pain. There's no accurate way to describe endometriosis with just words. It's something taken from nightmares. Just imagine a knife inside of you, twisting and tearing one of your organs apart. And this happens monthly for 5 to 10 days. Again, like PMDD, the solution is birth control to completely stop periods. Don't even get me started on birth control side effects. Anyway, I've begged countless doctors to give me a hysterectomy so I can feel relief and be free from all of this. But they all say that I'm too young, and that I'll regret my decision. I made a decision from a very young age that I would never have biological children. And as I've gotten older, that decision continues to solidify itself more and more. The state of the world, my mental and physical health, the financial crisis my generation is experiencing. Why would I ever force a child into the world? Why would I pass my pain on to them? Doing so would be a selfish decision. Only I know how much I've suffered, and I could never and will never put another person through that, especially my own flesh and blood. But doctors don't care if I've made my mind up. Their decisions about my body will always overrule my own. Don't forget adenomyosis. It's the hidden ailment and fetuser. Instead of the tissue growing outside the uterus, it grows into the uterine muscle. It can cause heavy bleeding, pelvic pain, prolapse, don't look it up, and loss of pregnancy. My wife had it, and we lost every time we conceived. Her uterus simply couldn't stretch to accommodate as the fetus grew. Although she had had fibroids removed in her 20s, they were never able to diagnose the disease until she had a hysterectomy years later after hearing what it was and how it presented. Everything she'd been dealing with for the past 30 years clicked into place. Kai just had a hysterectomy at age 32 because of my endometriosis being so bad. He had to take it all out, and they usually try to leave at least one ovary behind. I had endo removal back in June of 2022, which helped so much. But by November 2022, I was in crippling pain worse than before. I couldn't drive to my office to work because of the pain. When he talked to me a month after my surgery, I didn't see him after it because I was in the recovery room for way longer than expected. He said I was a mess. There was so much behind my ovaries, and my cervix was inflamed, and one of my tubes distorted. Endo is no joke, and no woman should ever be taken lightly about it. It's a shame more doctors don't offer a histo or some other recourse. Never mind that some women can't afford a doctor or birth control. How soft their skin feels. Did you know that the skin of women has the collagen fibers vertical instead of going crisscross? This makes women's skin more elastic and makes it less problematic after getting that pregnant belly. You can see the difference when people gain weight. A man can get like a round drum skin belly, while women get a bit more sag to where region they gain fat. Guy lash curlers exist. I'd grown up with sisters but never saw them use one. But my girlfriend at the time pulled one out as we were looking to go out. I was perplexed and horrified. Eyelash curlers are super nice if you ever have problems with random eyelashes flipping around the wrong direction and continuously poking you in the eye. They are nice for makeup too, but like even some days if I'm not wearing mascara, my eyelashes decide they hate me and I can tame them back into position with the curler. Why mom used to use one while driving me to school in the morning. It made me nervous, and then she told me a story about how one of her friends did the same thing and actually pulled out all her eyelashes when she went over a bump in the road. I was even more appalled, to the point that I would never even consider using one. But apparently it didn't bother my mom enough to stop doing it. I'm sure they're great tools, and the main thing wrong with this story is the while driving bit. But certain things from childhood just really stick with you. An earring or necklace always gets left behind. Right now, I have a single earring on my bedroom nightstand, a woman's scarf on the table by the front door, and a necklace on a piece of furniture in the living room. And I don't even have a girlfriend. I have so much that girls have littered all over my place. Rings, earrings, headbands, coats, shoes, you name it. Half of it isn't even from girls I've slept with, just people I've had over. Nothing from guys. I'm convinced that girls just shed items throughout the day. That hair washing is something that needs planning for and has consequences if missed or overdone. Also, certain kinds of underwear suit certain types of clothes. To be clear on the underwear, I meant some sets of knickers are for particular outfits, i.e. my ex had thongs purely for nice dresses so it wouldn't show. I was just telling my husband that I basically have to go through the 5 stages of grief before washing my hair. Denial. It's not even that dirty. Anger. I just fucking washed it the day before yesterday. Bargaining. Maybe I can get away with dry shampoo until tomorrow. Depression. Now my hair smells like I febrized it and it still doesn't look clean. I am gross and lazy. Acceptance. I guess I'll just wash it. A guy asked me out once and I told him that I was washing my hair and he got genuinely offended. I honestly didn't understand why until a friend of mine explained that guys think women say that to get out of dates. I wish guys knew how involved the hair washing process is. Worse still, if you have curly hair, that takes hours, and afterwards, I am almost always in a bad mood. Kai didn't know that birth control had so many often prevalent side effects. Even as a girl, I didn't know the full spectrum of this. I wasn't particularly the type of person to overreact or get pissed off easily. But since I got the birth control implant, I had insane mood swings for years, thinking it wasn't the birth control, but just some external cause making me feel that way. I got uncontrollable rage and non-stop crying. I put my boyfriend through a lot, but thank God he's much more emotional stable than I was and took it like a sham. Finally took my birth control out and it's been about a week. I feel way more chill. Never going back on hormones, ever. Before we were married, my wife took one that really ed with her mood, I think. I forgot which one though, maybe Yaz. I don't know, also related. A lot of women take birth control for reasons unrelated to not getting pregnant. My wife had very random and unpredictable periods. Even though she has them more often on birth control, she wants them to be predictable. I remember when she began on a beach trip and was so pissed. Using birth control, she can sort of plan them. Also, if trips are far enough in advance, she skip a few days of pills to make it so she doesn't have her period on the trip. My wife has pretty much refused since being on Become because of a lack of drive. It really is, but it would absolutely our lives up if we had a baby so soon after the one we just had. I've offered to wear condoms so she didn't have to take Become, and she said I want that raw if I'm going to get it. I just said I capped it. And just accept that it's not going to happen regularly until she's off it again. I've been breaking out in hives for the last 2 weeks, and just learned that it could be related to the fact that I had trouble getting my birth control renewed, and didn't have it for a few weeks. Hormones are connected to pretty much everything in your body, and messing with them can result in some wacky things, apparently including your skin freaking out. Been back on it for about a week now, so hopefully it all balances out soon. That towel wrapped on their head actually contains hair, don't yank it. My younger brother did this when we were kids. Tried to yank the towel off my head and I yelled out in pain, shock. The look of horror on his face and him saying, "Wait, your hair is actually in there," was priceless. They didn't get an orgasm by driving your fingers into them. Man, was I surprised that you just need to gently rub it like a genie bottle. Also, Janet, I'm sorry about trying to dig my way to China via your vagina in high school. This is so important, and every teenage boy needs to learn this in health CL. No, harder and fast doesn't equal better. Another one is that you don't have to touch the clit directly. For God's sake, stay outside the hood and be gentle. For many women, having your bare clit touched directly is akin to, I don't know, when you accidentally cut your nail way too short and it makes you sense. It's so sensitive. The hood exists for a reason. I don't even touch it, and I don't want anyone else touching it. I thought that for menstrual pads, the sticky sides were to stick to the body to stay attached, rather than on the underwear. Also, just how bad the unprompted TS are. I mean, I'm a gay dude where that's not uncommon, but that's usually like unsolicited pics on Grindr or something. My girlfriends will randomly get super aggressive texts from the realtor who showed them open rental properties last year, or a guy in her lab class she's literally never spoken to, and frequently. Had no idea before I was in a long-term relationship just how often women get public, unwanted attention from male strangers. I'm not around people who do that I know of, and it's never occurred to me to do something like that. So anytime I heard about that kind of thing or saw it depicted in media, I thought of it as an outlier or an old trope. Nope, it's an everyday thing, and it's kind read up. Sounds corny and lame, but I never imagined how fulfilling it would be to take care of another person. Like how well I do things for her affects how I feel about myself that day. I also never imagined how many small products and self-care rituals she uses that just increase your overall quality of life. I'm talking like skincare products, eye drops, nice socks, nice bed sheets, spending a little bit extra on things that are comfortable, candles and incense, etc. My life was rough and austere as before I started dating.